So this boat is valued at $159,075. If the bill is not passed, then the property tax is $5,010. But if the bill is passed, the property tax will be $2,505. From green beers to live bands to over a 40,000 person turnout, St. Patty's Day in Five Points is one of the biggest St. Patrick's Day festivals in the Southeast. However, liquor liability reforms may impact the celebration. That's right, y'all. I'm live right now. We're right down this road is the Williams-Brice Stadium, where the annual Garnet and Black Spring Game is bringing SEC energy to a spring night in Columbia. From packed stands to packed restaurants to first-time visitors catching the fever, South Carolina football is proving it doesn't take a fall Saturday to bring the hype. In South Carolina, boating isn't just a hobby, it's a way of life. But between upfront taxes and annual fees, that lifestyle doesn't always come cheap. When you buy a boat, you pay a one-time 5% tax, capped at $500. Then every year, counties tax boats based on their value, sometimes hundreds of dollars every year. Now, a bill moving through the State House, H. 3858, wants to lighten the load.
A boat isn't a luxury item. A boat is an opportunity for a family to enjoy the outdoors that South Carolina so abundantly has.
The bill would cut property taxes on boats by half, end the need for separate titles on outboard motors, and combine those bills into one simplified payment.
I'm sure that there's a lot of people that are waiting to see how this legislation goes, because I feel that if it does pass, it'll be great for the state of South Carolina, but it will be great for the industry and every boater in South Carolina as well.
So this boat is valued at $159,075. If the bill is not passed, then the property tax is $5,010. But if the bill is passed, the property tax will be $2,505. But not everyone's on board. County auditors worry the change could cost local governments millions.
That's $2 million. That's going to be about 5 mills that we're going to have to spread out to all other taxable entities or taxable property in our county.
And with no more titles for motors, officials say tracking and enforcing taxes could get tricky.
We're one of the few states in the country that bills the hull and the motor separately. That's something that we know we need to change. But I don't believe this bill includes the right sort of language to do it appropriately.
Supporters say it's about making boating more affordable. Critics say it's a loss that could drain county budgets. Either way, the future of boat taxes in South Carolina is still up for debate. In Columbia, Barlow Cooper, Carolina News. Turkey hunting season, which begins on April 3rd, has been an American tradition for over a century, with the first South Carolina hunters likely beginning with indigenous people like the Congaree and the Cherokee. And for people like Luke Perucci, this tradition means family.
First time I turkey hunted, I was 6 years old. My grandfather was the one that got me hooked.
However, wild turkey populations in South Carolina and across the Southeast have been shrinking over the past couple of decades. In the 1980s and 90s, the wild turkey population was roughly 150,000 statewide. But today, according to the South Carolina Department of Natural Resources, the current population of the species is approximately 100,000.
What has prompted it is declines in productivity. In other words, reproductive success by turkeys.
However, the SCDNR has set conservation efforts to help preserve the population before hunting season. These efforts include a later season start, a reduced bag limit, and more. The season usually starts on March 20th. This later start date of April 3rd is set to ensure more undisturbed nesting time, as peak egg laying often happens in late March and early April. And the reduced bag limit means hunters are only permitted to kill 2 wild turkeys or gobblers, which is a decline from the initial 3-bird rule.
We'll see how these conservation efforts that they've put in place this year, we'll see where that takes us. Because that extra week that they're giving those turkeys to breed the hens is going to make a huge difference.
With more than 45,000 turkey hunters statewide, the South Carolina Department of Natural Resources recognizes that this is a multi-generational tradition and it's an essential ritual for many South Carolina families. In Columbia, Carolina News, Barlow Cooper.
I cry. I cry about it.
Finals week is nothing new for college students. But for this generation, the stress hits different. Raised during times like 9/11, the 2008 recession, COVID-19, and the rise of technology, Gen Z is no stranger to instability and the pressure that comes with it.
Because there's a lot of different social pressures now, and we have higher expectations, I feel like, related to academics and what we do with our lives.
A 2023 study by Annie E. Casey Foundation found that nearly 2/3 of Gen Z, 65%, reported experiencing at least one mental health issue in the past 2 years. That's compared to 51% of millennials, 29% of Gen Xers, and just 14% of baby boomers. South Carolina is ranked number 42 for mental health funding and number 17 in the U.S. for mental illness. But on campus, students are taking matters into their own hands. At the University of South Carolina, a student-led club called USC Mind, short for Mental Illness Needs Discussion, is working to break the stigma around mental health.
USC Mind's goal is just to spread awareness about mental health and anxiety and stress. I think it's not really talked about, so the main goal is just to get it in people's minds and people to talk about it more than they do today.
The group hosts peer-led discussions, events, and awareness campaigns, all designed to create a safe space for students to open up.
The Ice Bucket Challenge blew up, and we've seen a huge following from that. So I just think, talking about it was our main goal, and that definitely has happened.
And for a generation that's been through so much, connection and conversation may just be what they need most. In Columbia, Barlow Cooper, Carolina News. Switching gears to baseball, the Gamecocks secured a 4-0 victory over the Citadel yesterday at Founders Park, marking their 4th shutout of the season. Pitchers Jackson Susie, Tyler Pitzer, Ashton Crowther, and Parker Marlott all had combined efforts in limiting the Citadel to 7 hits and 3 walks, while striking out 7 batters. Looking ahead, the Gamecocks are set to host number 11 Ole Miss for a 3-game series at Founders Park from April 17th to the 19th. I had the chance to speak with pitcher Jackson Susie. Here's what he had to say about this upcoming series.
I'd say the biggest thing is just everybody's trying to just stay positive about what's been going on, because obviously we haven't had the best season so far, so we're trying to just turn the tide and get into a better situation this upcoming series. We're all trying to keep a positive mind about it and just go into the series and get our first series win.
Fingers crossed this will be the Gamecocks' chance to improve their standing in the SEC, which is currently 2-13.